I wasn't always a good student. I wasn't always this 3.9 GPA biomedical engineering PhD student. In fact, it was quite far from that. I used to be very lost, unmotivated, and undisciplined. And the reason for that was because I listened to bad advice. People told me to always take the easy way out. People told me to take the easy classes, take the easy professors. People told me to just cheat on my homework, just cheat on the exams to get a better grade. But that ended up hurting me so much more than helping me. And I did those things because I thought that that was what I was supposed to do. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 3 habits that helped me get my life on track. The first habit is weekly planning. Back during my college years, the first 3 years of college, I was a very reactionary person. And what I mean by that is that if, for example, I had a homework assignment due, I would wait until the last minute to do it. I needed a deadline to get myself to do the work. If I had an exam, I wouldn't think about it until the exam date came up. And then the night before the exam, I would enter panic mode and then panic and stress out about the exam. But something that I've realized over the years is that it's that successful people and successful students, especially, they don't need to manage their time because they own their time. And the way to own your time is by having an effective weekly planner. Let me share with you the strategy that I use to start owning my time and get away from this reactionary mindset and get into a proactive mindset such that I was ahead of the game and I was always prepared for anything that came my way. So, what I did was every Sunday evening, I would just write a list of all of the things that I needed to do in that upcoming week. So this would include tests, homework deadlines, um, any meetings that I had to attend and prepare for, anything that I had to do. I even did included things like laundry and meal prepping into this list. And I would just list all of these items down every Sunday evening. And then I would pick the 3 most important of those items. And then I would schedule in exactly when to do those 3 tasks. And I would front load them. I would just do them first and get them out of the way. And what this enabled me to do was get those high priority, high leverage tasks out of the way. And that freed up so much time for me to do all of the other work that I would have been just doing on my day-to-day basis. Once you do the important tasks, life becomes so much easier. There's a concept from this book called Eat That Frog. And I know that sounds kind of disgusting, but the idea is if you have a plate of food and let's say you have to eat this frog, are you going to be the type of person who saves the frog for last and eats all the nice stuff first and then finally gets themselves to eat the frog? Or are you going to be the person who just eats the frog first and then gets to the good stuff? The idea from this book is that you want to be that second person who eats the frog first so that you can enjoy the rest of your time. And it's honestly so true. Once you get the high priority tasks out of the way, it frees you up to really enjoy your time and spend the rest of your week doing the things that you actually like to do. So the first step is going to be weekly planning. I want you to start owning your time. The second habit that really changed my life was journaling. And journaling builds clarity. Up until in the fourth year of my undergraduate years, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't always know that I wanted to be a PhD student. I actually found that out um, quite only in the past couple of years. But when I was still in undergrad, in college, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Honestly, in fact, looking back on it, I was chasing these lines to have on my resume. I was chasing that high GPA. I was I was not really moving. I wasn't doing things that moved me towards a specific goal. And I think about this all the time. If I knew what I wanted to do with my life back in college or even back in high school, imagine how much that could have compounded over the years and years of life that I've lived. I could have been so much further than I am now. It's insane. But that being said, you can never change the past, right? So the earlier you can find your life path, the faster, the more progress you can actually make. The specific journal prompts that I like to use are, this is one that I do every day actually, is what is something that I did today that I'm proud of? That's something that it frames your mindset to think of your life in a more positive way. And this actually changes your mindset to actually view your life in a more positive way. And in the morning, I journal about something that I am grateful for. And once you consistently do these journaling practices, you start looking your life at a much more positive light. And then once you have established the habit of journaling, you can start asking the questions of, what does my dream life look like? It's hard. You can't start with the dream life question when you journal because your mind is going to be so unclear. You're going to be, oh, I just want to be rich, or I just want to. It. Your mind is not clear until you. This might not be true for you, but in my experience, yeah, I had to kind of grease that my journaling muscles until I got to the point where my mind was clear enough to be able to ask those big important questions. But I know many people, I was very hesitant to start journaling in the beginning, but honestly, it's the number one of the top things that have absolutely changed my life experience. When I first started out, I actually used the Notes app in my phone, and I know that this works for many people, and it's a very easy way to start journaling. But I've actually found that writing things down physically in a notebook. So this is the journal that I use for my journaling, and it works. Something about writing with a pen on a piece of paper just makes things stick better in my brain. So I definitely recommend, if you're not doing any kind of journaling, then yes, you can start with a notes app on your phone, but eventually I recommend working your way to a pen and paper journal. The final habit I want to talk about in this video is asking for help. This is something I wish I knew so much earlier in my life. And you can fast track your growth and your life so much just by having the humility to ask for help. All for my entire life up until the second year of graduate school, so only until last year, I was too scared to ask people for help. I always had this idea that I had to figure everything out on my own. But honestly, it's kind of a waste of time because so many people have gone through the exact things that you are going through and are going to go through. So use the experiences of other people to get you past the obstacles that you otherwise would get stuck at. if it sounds so obvious in hindsight, but I'm really telling you, like, this is such a cheat code to succeed in life. Most people don't succeed because their egos are too big to ask for help. And how do you ask for help? Go to the office hours, get some help from your TAs and professors. Talk to alumni who go to your university. Get some coaching from people that you follow online. Join communities with people who are more advanced than you in whatever field you're in. And the number one way that I think that you can get coaching for free is to make friends with people who are more experienced than you. If you have a friend who's maybe an upperclassman and you're an underclassman, that is such a nice thing to have because they're going to help you through the moments that they struggled with so that you don't have to struggle with the same things. You can essentially get their experience for free. You can get their years of experience for free just by talking to them and being friends with them and talking about your life. It's such a game changer. Well, I'd like to wrap up this video by saying that I didn't wake up one day with my life figured out. It took me years of doing things one step at a time to get to where I am now. So, if this is all new to you and you want to improve and get your life on track, I suggest you pick one thing. Pick one thing and stick with it. Stick with it until it becomes automatic and you don't have to think about it anymore, and then move on to the next thing. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope it helps. If you want to keep learning, click right here, and I'll see you next time.